What's up? Live stream. This is the Go Long Podcast. Tyler Dunn here with Jim Monis at Fatty Beer Company, Orchard Park, New York. This is the home base, Jim. You know, that's what happens when we start straying from our home base. We were in unfamiliar terrain in Kenmore. We had a very loud table next to us, some very justifiable complaints on our last episode, so we're very sorry that you couldn't hear the great Mike Rodak. You know, he had the takes burning too, so we might have to bring Mike back after the draft. But anyways, we're here, and I cannot wait for this episode, Jim. How in the hell are you, dude?
Feels good to be back here. One thing we're learning about Fatty Beer, wherever we go, it's busy. Music's loud, people are here, it's good atmosphere. So everywhere we're going, it's fun, but just not maybe the background for our podcast. But it's the place to be.
Was pretty good though.
Love it.
I thought the Jazz went with the Atlanta Falcons analysis.
You know, I'm in for that. I was in for that Jazz music. That was good.
It was.
But it feels this is where we need to remind people about a lot what Mike talked about with quarterbacks. And now we did a little research ourselves.
Gave our resident scout here, Jim Monis,
I got an assignment.
Little homework assignment.
Yeah, I got an assignment.
You got an assignment. I said, Jim, we got to figure out Anthony Richardson. There were no strings attached. It was, we got Jim Monis here who scouted in the Southeast for the New Orleans Saints. It's a backtrack. You're with the Philadelphia Eagles, New Orleans Saints, director of personnel with the Buffalo Bills, running the show in the XFL. And then you got a schlub like myself writing about this sport. But we're kind of coming at it from two different angles. You know, you've actually done this for a living, and I'm a fan of the human condition with feature stories and whatnot. But I thought it would be really fun for us to both. I don't want to say grind the film.
No.
There's got to be a better way.
The worst word is grind.
Way too much grinding.
As soon as somebody talks about grinding film, they aren't grinding film. It just means they don't know what they're watching. It's taking them too long.
And there's not much worse this time of year than the folks who look at, 6.5 minutes of a YouTube highlight and then come to this sweeping conclusion on anything at all. So you really do have to see anything for a full game, multiple games, do it for a living, live out of a Marriott. I never really asked you, what's it like living out of a Marriott? It's like you were scouting all of these prospects.
It becomes your second home. Scary how it almost becomes your home. It becomes comfortable. Yeah. Every time I'm in a Courtyard or a Fairfield Inn, I feel at home. Like I know the breakfast. I know everything that's going to happen. I don't know if that's depressing or if it's like, but I can tell you that hotels become comfortable.
You become a
zombie.
Creature of habit.
You literally, it's car, hotel, type reports, all the players you just watched, and all the notes you took at the school you were at that day. Get your dinner, go to bed, wake up, go to the next school, do it again. And it's honestly, here's what I tell people: when you stay at a hotel and they have the phones that seem outdated right next to the bed now. I don't even know the last time. I don't do wake-up calls on that, but you have a cell phone. But the reason those are still important is because they always have the address on those phones. And when you're bouncing around, I swear to you, when you wake up in the morning, you don't know where you're at. I would look over at that phone to see, okay, I'm going to Auburn today. That's right. I'm at the Marriott in Opelika, Alabama. That's really, I swear to you, that's how, crazy it gets. You don't know where you are.
More importantly, have you cashed in on your points? I've never asked you. This is really. This is asking somebody a super personal question, having a heated political debate. I don't know whether we should talk about Bud Light or we should ask you how many points you have in your Marriott account.
Key to Marriott points: use them for something special.
Personal.
Use them for something good. Build them up and use them for a nice, whatever the hotel is, if it's out of your range, usually use it for that. Yes. Don't use it for the Courtyard, Fairfield Inn. You can afford that, or else you shouldn't be going anywhere.
Your point situation?
Point situation's pretty. I'm about to use some in Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, well, I will say, I was in a good point situation, soon after leaving Bleacher Report, and we're at Go Long here for 3 years. I've been burning through those points, and this season I'm dangerously close to 0. So hey, it happens. We knew this day would come.
It happens. Build it back up. You'll get there.
It's like that. This metaphor works for so many things, but it's like the movie The Perfect Storm. Catching all those fish.
I agree with you.
Right, George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg,
all the classics, yes.
And they're catching all those fish. It's like the getting's good. Me and Gina, we went to the Bahamas, the Cove, Marriott. It was great. Soaking it all in, living it up. Finger Lakes, the Fairfield in Geneva is became a home away from home, and then it gets a little lower. Now we're using it on Go Long trips, traveling around with those points.
It's
3 seasons into it, and now it's close to 0.
It's staying at the blackjack table too long. Get out when you're up. Get out when the fishing's good. Don't push it. Don't push the storm. Don't push the weather. I can relate everything to a blackjack table or some form of gambling.
We're steering back through the storm.
Get out of there. You had a good run. Get out. You knew you were facing
it. Okay, though.
I do like that movie, though.
It's a really good movie. When's the last time a movie was introduced?
Are we going to start doing
and then we're like, we got to see this movie.
Did you go see Air? I went and saw Air.
Heard great things. Haven't seen it.
Worth seeing.
Is it?
Good story.
Well, there's no smooth transition to this, Jim, but Anthony Richardson.
Let's do it. Florida.
Where do you want to start? So we both saw the Florida LSU game, and then you took it a step further and watched him against South Florida
as well.
So to me, this is the single most fascinating player in the draft because there are opinions all over the place. Mm-hmm. If folks checked out Bob McGinn's initial top 55, so that came out late February at golongtd.com, and good chance to remind everybody the series starts next week, position by position.
Nobody does. Look, that's coming from. We talk about this. There's very few people you should read their opinions on the draft. Bob is one of them. Okay, when I read Bob's stuff, he's talking to the right people. He's getting the right opinions. He's giving you the right info. It's not made up.
Scouts.
Personnel. That's why I like
coaches.
That's why I like
GMs across the NFL. It's weird. I feel guilty even calling Bob or emailing him about anything this time of year because he is posted up in his office on the phone nonstop, then transcribing, and then banging out this 9 or 10 part series. Ahead of the 39th annual. He's done this since 85, 86. He's done this for a long time. So if you want the unfiltered, just raw, good, bad, ugly takes on all of these prospects, subscribe. Every single story will only be for our paid subscribers. So we'd love to have you join the community. And honestly, Jim, with that initial top 55 thing put out, what probably stunned me the most was how scathing scouts were when it came to Anthony Richardson. And I'm going to pull it up here now. I should have had it up.
So when you say scathing, as far as you just didn't think there was going to be as many criticisms? Or
Well, I didn't know anything about him. I didn't sit down and watch Florida games. The hype machine started to churn for Anthony Richardson, obviously ahead of the combine, then through the combine, into his pro day, and then it's out of control now, for better or worse. But I was just surprised that scouts were this negative when it came to Anthony Richardson. And let me pull this up.
No, the reason I'm sitting here thinking and waiting because I'm looking forward to hearing what you're going to read and thinking about what I'm going to say.
So here's what one scout said, quote, "Florida had a bad season, and this guy was the reason they had a bad season. He was so inconsistent, but at the combine, he'll have the strongest arm there. People get all excited about him. He'll be a workout wonder." So this top 55 is pre-combine, and then he kind of circles back,
which
and talks to a lot of again.
I love that. That's smart.
And then, but his combine was insane. Obviously, 4.43, 40.5-inch vert, 10 feet 9 inches on the broad jump. Here's the second scout. He's a raw athlete. He's got a little Vince Young in him. I'm sure he's a better kid and smarter. He's a freak athlete. He's a long way away as an NFL passer. I mean a long way away. You're rolling some big dice if you take him in the first round, or you have a lot of rocks in your head. Got to check my head after we have this podcast. All right, this is a third scout. So these are 3 different scouts. Third scout. He cannot play quarterback, quote unquote. Quote. He is as raw can be. His delivery is like he's never thrown a football before. He's not accurate. He'll have a couple of wild plays just running around, but he isn't even that special running around. He doesn't know when to run and when not to run. 10 times he just chucks it up into coverage against them. One time it actually looks good. Guys like this don't change. And so typically on this top 55, especially because these are maybe the first 55 players drafted, you'll get like some positive reviews. That was the entirety of the abbreviated first report from the scouts. And for those, I know people love to bang on anonymous sources. I feel obligated to say this. Look, Bob has done this for decades. Yeah. Bob is connected. These are people he's talked to for years and years and years. So there'll be, I mean, maybe it's justified for people to think this way. Oh, they're just saying bad things about this player because they want that stock of that player to go down. Obviously, knowing Bob at a personal level, he's developed these relationships and can parse through the bullshit and the truth as well as anybody I know in the business. That being said, holy cow, that's about as rough as it gets for any top quarterback prospect that we expect to get out of.
I'm excited about this. So I would agree with all those statements, every single one of them. There is no way. Here's where I'll leave it. I agree with all that. If you draft him, it is a pure. You are taking a gamble. Like we always.
You're a gambler now.
I'm cool on gambling. Now I'm an analytic gambler, so I'm very big on a lot of things need to add up for me to place certain bets. There's nothing adding up on tape for this guy as a quarterback. I didn't see anything except for an incredible arm. Fastballs are easy. This guy's going to give up a lot of home runs because there is no other pitch coming but fastballs. No touch. 0. No accuracy. 0. Not asked. He's not even asked to make very many hard throws. The easy throws, he is not good on. That touch, I know we'll talk about the LSU game because you watched that one.
I know which story you're talking about.
It's awful.
At the goal line, the tight end, wide open.
He made that look so hard.
It was rough.
Now go watch Vince Young play. Go watch Lamar Jackson. Go watch Cam Newton in college. Go watch.
Let's not put Vince Young in that same conversation. I mean, he was a bust.
He was not a bust. If I recall, he was Rookie of the Year.
Then he fell off the face of the earth.
For his off the field, not for on. His ability was off. Like these guys were special players, dominating college football. Richardson, I'm not sure how you justify drafting him as your starting quarterback.
Strong.
Yeah,
strong take from a strong man.
Yeah, it's a total. I'm cool with whoever does it. Good job. I mean, hey, the Falcons are gambling on a 3rd round pick, Ritter, as being the guy that's going to
draft Anthony Richardson.
We're going to talk about this because I do think there's more of that Falcon team coming. But Richardson would be a hard no for me.
Fair enough. And we're going to get into the LSU game and the specifics of it. I'll just say this, Jim, as you were breaking down not even the pros and cons, the cons of Anthony Richardson.
Pros are tough.
I'll say, I thought for a second you were talking about Josh Allen at Wyoming.
No. I didn't do him. I didn't do Josh, but in fairness, go watch Josh Allen Wyoming highlights. Blow your mind away. He was making special throws. People weren't paying attention.
Here's the thing with Anthony Richardson, though. Let's just jump right into that LSU game. Watching that start to finish, to me, there's this palpable feeling that he has a physical, athletic skill set to do something special any given play. That he's got this raw ability to just take over a game, detonate a game when he wants. He did it 36 seconds into the game with that bomb of a touchdown. He did it with the 81-yard touchdown run when he's immediately directing.
Big arm, and he's a fast, straight-ahead runner. We're not talking about quarterback yet.
Oh yeah, no, I get.
No, I'm saying those were the two plays.
He's got a big arm. He can run. I'll agree with you. In the scout there, it's kind of strange.
I don't think he's a
that
great
he didn't run for 1,000 yards, right? I mean, with what he's able to do,
he didn't look real natural in some runs. I see what he's saying about that.
I feel like that game though, when he saw Lane, he took it.
No,
There was a play. So after he throws the touchdown to start that game, the very next drive, there's a safety in his face on 5 for LSU.
Yep.
Blitz, and he didn't flinch. He kind of loops wide. He's inside of his own 10. He gets all the way to the 30. He has a long stride. It's a fast stride. I'm just talking about like when we really take it granular, literally what he can do physically, athletically. Not many human beings can do at the quarterback position. And you saw it at the combine. You saw it at the pro day. And why I kind of think that and look, I'm with you.
Yeah.
To me, the ceiling is up here. The floor is down low. It's going to go one way or another. I don't think there's any in between. And if he's going to even come close to that ceiling, we're not going to see it for 2-3 years.
Well said.
So he needs to get to a situation where, and this is why I kind of think there's hope for Anthony Richardson. You look at the draft, there are some pretty good teams picking in the top 15 that can afford to draft him and put him on ice. I don't think Carolina will go to that extreme. I think they take Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. But Detroit, right? Jared Goff is the starter this year, probably the year after that. They've got a team that is going to threaten to go on a run to the NFC, I think. The NFC's wide open. They got 2 first-round picks. They could take them, stash them. I mean, behind that offensive line and their culture there, you can talk to Seattle. When they gave Geno Smith all that money, he could go there and sit. Good front office, good coaching. Tennessee, I mean, Ryan Tannehill is going to be the starter this year. Vegas, Jimmy Garoppolo will be I'm just saying he'll be able to go somewhere and absolutely 100% sit for a year. He won't have to play at all. And every coach says it. Every GM says it. We make fun of them for saying it. Oh, of course you're going to roll with the veteran when you're 2-7, you're going to play Anthony. No, I don't think there's going to be pressure for him to play this year. So he's going to have time. And then this is where I cannot wait to pick your brain, Jim, because I feel like we're seeing a big shift, and we touched on it. If you could hear the podcast with Mike Rodak, we touched on it then a little bit. I feel like the comparison is the 3-point shot in basketball in terms of through the 90s, early 2000s, up until Steph Curry was drafted, after Johnny Flynn and Ricky Rubio. David Kahn, what the hell were you thinking? That changed everything. All of a sudden, the 3-point shot, we saw the value of it, and it became very clear. Everybody on the court better be able to shoot the 3. Everybody better be a threat. And it changed the game. 1 through 5, the guard, point guard, shooting guard,
changed the game.
Small forward, power forward, centers. You got to be able to shoot. And because it was so necessary, everybody trained to do it.
Right.
I mean, can you imagine watching basketball back in the 90s and seeing Patrick Ewing just pulling up from 24 feet and launching a 3? No, it's still kind of weird. Like, I didn't watch much NBA all this season, and I turned on one of these playing games, and to see a center just pull up and shoot
every center,
aesthetically bizarre.
Every center now.
Yes,
they don't miss.
They don't. I mean, Joel Embiid.
I'm with you.
Give me money.
Name it.
Because it was necessary. It was demanded. You better, because if you can't do it, hey,
you have no value.
Go play in Greece. Go play in Turkey.
Get
the hell out.
I agree. I like it.
So I feel like that's accuracy in football. I feel like it became very clear you better be accurate as a quarterback. If you're not, peace. Get out of here. And there are so many, and that desire, or that the demand was so high that the supply met up with the demand. Now you've got quarterback coaches all over the country. And we've talked to a bunch. They've been on our happy hours. They've been on the podcast. Joshua Harris with Lamar Jackson. Quincy Avery with Deshaun Watson, Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts. I talked to him for the story I have up right now with Anthony Richardson. Steve Calhoun. He goes way back to Russell Wilson and Cam Newton. He's got Jordan Love. He's like a father figure to Jordan Love. He's in direct communication with Matt LaFleur. They're talking all the time. He's giving him drills to work on. I mean, Tom House was obviously Tom Brady's guy. Jordan Palmer, what he did with Josh Allen. So that 2-3 month gap in an NFL calendar where a quarterback isn't even really working with anybody specifically, I'm like, these are the specific mechanical flaws you have to fix. And then attacking it. It wasn't. I might be wrong.
No,
I feel like it wasn't streamlined even 10, 15 years ago. Now everybody has a guy, and then if you can marry that with an innovative offensive coordinator, play caller, head coach, Brian Dable, Nick Sirianni, somebody. I mean, Matt LaFleur. And if you can get everybody on the same page, you've got a chance to, for the longest time, we thought if you're inaccurate, you're never going to become accurate. That's changed. Yes, you can become more accurate. So I feel like Anthony Richardson, now he's got to put the work in. I don't know what he's like as a person. Josh Allen busted his ass and Jalen Hurts busted. Like they
off the chart toughness,
off
leadership,
the charts,
all that.
Like they put the work in to improve
I don't know,
their accuracy.
We don't know about Richard, right?
I don't know anything about him.
I mean, those are traits of incredibly successful, talented athletes. The drive, like they have evidence of success, evidence of dominating, evidence of carrying you, all that.
True.
I'm not saying Richardson has that or not. Florida would be able to answer that. Scouts would know. But I just didn't see anything that, like, you would say, oh, my God, we can get that out of him all the time. That's going to be our guy. I didn't see it. This was, to me, like a broken golf swing. Like, it's some guys can't be better off the tee. Like,
I guess that's probably like more the crux of the disagreement and the overall debate on Anthony Richardson, because everybody's having this debate. I feel like, all right, what he can fix, I think if he puts the work in, he'll be able to fix it.
That's fair.
What you can't fix at quarterback, 6'4", 250, 4'4", 40 inch, all that stuff. He had. Like, you can't just put that inside of a Carson Wentz, inside of Daniel Jones. Like, you can't just make any of these quarterbacks that. He's got that, and those moments. You're right. They were 6 and 7. He wasn't dominant. His numbers were. He should have ran for 1,000 yards.
Watch South Florida game. Watch all.
But I think these particular plays would be enough if I'm a good team and I can make a luxury pick, and then the first round, it's enough to give it a shot because the position's too valuable. If it flops,
it's the one position you're good at.
If you hit, if he can line up everything, you might be winning Super Bowls. Yeah,
I didn't see it. Yeah, I don't have that same feeling on him. Yeah, I wouldn't mess with him. You know what I think about? I remember when Doug Whaley first saw Malik Willis at Liberty. I remember him calling me, asking me if I had seen him yet. This is when we're out of the league at this point. It's just football talk like we do. I hadn't seen him, and he was like, I don't see it. I don't see it. I feel the same way. Like, this is one I just don't. This one's one good luck. I don't see what you're trying to get. I don't know what can get better, how much better it can get. Maybe that's the way to say it. I think it could be fatal flaw. I always talk about fatal flaws. That's how you have to determine. Is it fatal flaw? If a guy's slow, is it fatal flaw slow? Or can we live with it? Can he still be productive, not being the fastest linebacker, not being the fastest receiver? Can he still be productive? Can this quarterback still be productive and lead our team to wins? I don't know what to say, man. It's far, far away. The one guy that said that, long ways away, like their offense is a long ways away. He's not asked to do anything, but he's going to be asked to do in the NFL. They would pick him apart right now in the NFL. A defense would eat him up. Like,
I agree.
As far as what you said,
he better not start day one.
Not day one, but it may. This would be. Yeah, this would be the ultimate.
That's right. I think that Matt Miller, he's on Substack as well. He covers the NFL draft. He's been doing ESPN stuff. He had to report this week that at 4, because that's a spot, right? Indianapolis, that they
4th round.
No.
No, I know. I can't believe
yeah.
4.
No, I'm saying his report is they're leaning. They got Will Levis ahead of Anthony Richardson because he's more pro ready. I mean, that makes all the sense in the world.
Whatever, yeah.
But they got Gardner Minshew. You're not going to try Gardner Minshew out, I wouldn't think, as your day 1 starter. Maybe you would. Definitely not if Richardson's the quarterback. I mean, Levis is more ready to start right now than Richardson.
I got to see. Okay. Levis will be the next guy.
We should watch him some more.
Next guy.
But so that LSU tape, start there. We watch the same
Yep,
exact game.
yep. Love it, obviously.
Two different thoughts,
yeah.
two different opinions.
Yeah, I didn't see anything other than the fastball. Great.
I love that fastball. Give me the fastball.
It doesn't even come up when you talk about arm strength. I don't even know where that comes up on when you talk about quarterback. They're all good enough. If they're playing D1 or in the NFL, their arms are fine. Obviously, some guys are 4.4, some guys are 4.5 receivers. Like, you know, it's slight differences. Some guys have stronger arms.
He like holds you to the edge of your seat.
That's what I was waiting on. Even the long run was like, I mean, he ran straight ahead, ran over people, ran away from them. Great. Not going to do that in the NFL. That's not going to happen in the NFL.
See, I disagree. That struck me as an NFL run.
No. I learned that quick.
Does he remind you of anybody that you scouted in the past?
A worse Tebow? I had a 7th round grade on Tim Tebow.
You had a 7th round grade on Tebow?
Because of the same things, fatal flaw. And guess what? Richardson, I still can't believe Tebow won a playoff game. I never thought that was possible. But you're talking about, obviously, a resume that he dominated college football. You know, at least he did that. I would take Tebow over Richardson.
Man, I don't think I've ever had a take just.
I don't think I've ever
said.
I don't know if I've ever said I was taking Tebow over somebody.
You know, 7th round grade on Tebow, and you would take Tebow over.
Yeah, I wouldn't mess with this
Anthony
guy.
Richardson.
But this is a hot take. I mean, what's it matter what I say?
You know what kind of got me excited about Anthony Richardson is even when he was failing, even when he was throwing incomplete passes, it reminded me of Josh Allen. I remember watching Allen at Wyoming. There was a game against Oregon. It was ugly.
Now you're going to make me watch my
And yeah, like
Josh Allen.
It wasn't like Florida asked Anthony Richardson to like look at the offense, right? Misdirection, motions, all the stuff going on, all these fakes.
Yeah, it's.
But there was nothing easy. I didn't think there were like these easy completions to like fatten up his completion percentage.
But I don't care about percentage. I care about the types of throws they're asking.
They were asking to throw down the field, and he hit some. He hit some.
Did he?
Yeah. Did you watch the Utah game?
No, I didn't do Utah.
I mean, I'm just gonna say like these sporadic moments.
There obviously people are seeing something in it.
It's dangerous. Like, look, it's playing with fire. I'll agree with you. It's absolutely playing with fire. But there are sporadic moments of holy hell. How many people on the planet can make that play with Anthony Richardson? To me, and look, I'm not a scout, so everybody should probably listen to you on this subject. I'm just looking at it as
Justin Fields. Justin Fields, to me, was a more accomplished passer than Richardson. And Fields isn't close yet in the NFL.
Yeah, that's a great point.
What they've leaned on is the special skill set that Richardson has as well. So in defense of a guy that I like in Fields, and I've talked about it, he needs to get better still as a passer. But I didn't have the fear that, to your point, improving accuracy, I thought Fields could improve accuracy. And it still needs to get better, but I've seen some. But Richardson, it might be it's Tebow-ish for me, where I don't think it's going to improve.
Here's where it's different than Tebow to me. Like Tebow's like literal delivery. I mean, he held the ball down by his waist. Richardson doesn't do that.
But that doesn't matter though. It's the accuracy part. The long releases. That Byron Leftwich release.
It took Tebow longer to get the ball to his desired target. Like.
Tebow was actually a really, really good deep ball passer. Like pretty deep ball touch. Like there are good things with him.
It was the antithesis
He was
of
not.
compact.
He just was not an NFL quarterback. He was a system quarterback, college system quarterback. I just don't see it with Richardson. Yeah.
So I kind of, I guess I cheated. I kind of jumped around different games. For this Utah game, I mean, I get
You saw like special throws.
there's little moments of special,
Yeah.
of hope.
That's what I need. That's what I would
promise,
need
of
to see.
optimism,
All right, I can check.
where I'm like, this, it's worth the gamble.
The gamble.
And it's a gamble. You're a gambler.
I'm cool with
It's
gambling.
like if you're on the app and you see odds are
I'm cool with gambling.
crazy, but you've got a little hunch, you've got a little feeling. That's Anthony Richardson. This play against Utah, the 2-point play, I don't know, midway through the game. I mean, he's dead to right. It should have been a sack. And the guy is right there. And it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It was he jumped and spun and pump fake to get out of it.
So I mean,
And he gets out of it and he throws. I mean, it was.
See, I
nuts.
like that you have that excitement.
Yeah,
That's
he's fun to watch.
You
He's
want
like fun
that-
as hell to watch.
That's fair
to me.
That's fair. Like to have, yes, that's very fair. All right, sorry, I'm trying to find this. I want to see this play now.
Look it up.
Just the 2-point conversion.
And I mean, he had a long run that game. So here's where it'd be a little troubling. I mean, it's the season opener, I believe. So this is the first game of the year. It'd be really nice if it was, late in the season, like you worked to this point. But I think Utah was 7th in the country at the time.
No, it's not. He plays against play. I seriously am breaking him down. I'm not worried about the competition. I'm looking at the types of throws, and did he deliver those throws?
So give me some specifics.
So like that bootleg that he missed that we keep talking about.
That's
one.
He's
That's
at the goal
one. I should have brought my
line.
notebook. I'm watching this play right now.
Okay, the Utah play.
There was nobody covering the guy.
No, but did you see how he got? Did you see how he escaped the guy in his
see that
face?
every week somewhere.
No. Look at this.
That's not happening. Yeah. See, I don't think that didn't do it for me.
You're saying in the
That was
NFL,
to me, that was a horrible. That was
sacked.
a very bad athlete. Yeah, that missed that sack. Athletic by Richardson.
I'm glad that
To
we're
escape.
disagreeing. We
To
do
escape.
agree too much on this podcast.
That one, yeah, Richardson, we're gonna have to let go for me. I can't do it.
Where do you think he gets drafted? Then?
No, well, that's different. Tebow went in the first round too.
Somebody will believe.
That's what I'm saying. He'll go for it. Yeah.
There'll be a coach out there who says, "Give me that. I will work with that."
Mm-hmm.
I think there's hope because he's not going to have to play right away.
Yeah. I don't
Indianapolis
disagree
should
with
not
hope.
take him and start. They should. I don't think.
I don't know when the time's going to be for him. I'm down on him.
I see. I think where I disagree. I don't think this is Malik Willis. I mean, Malik Willis is at Liberty, and he's smaller. I feel
I'm talking about the ability to not make a pass. Like this is. To
you
me,
don't think
is
you
the-
can learn? You don't think you
No,
can
not.
learn?
I think
these
there's
things?
getting better, and I think there's fatal flaw. I think it's fatal flaw. I thought Tebow's was fatal flaw. I think Richardson's fatal flaw. From what I've seen in Malik Willis, that's not going to get better. I'm trying to think of anybody else. The guys that are just like, when do we say enough's enough? Like it's the same. The guy that I always like, Sam Darnold. I give him every year talent. He does it. He makes special throws. He does. You see his special throws. His fatal flaw, he can't stop turning the ball over. Like some guys are just. It's not going to get corrected.
It was comical how terrible Josh Allen was with his accuracy, though. Early on, I can remember
How many times?
training camp, preseason, thrown into the 10th row,
And how many
thrown
times
at
did you
people's
say
feet.
jaw drop?
See, I have those feelings once in a while.
Right. I didn't jaw drop
With
on
Anthony
Richardson.
Richardson.
That's what I didn't see. That's where we didn't see it the same.
You know what? And that's where
We just watched the play together.
I'm trying to fight the draft industrial complex because we've got months and months to pour over clips and games and, fall in love and fall out of love with prospects. I get it. And I try to fight that urge as much as I possibly can. I never could get on the Malik Willis hype train last year. And it was moving fast.
But where'd he go though? 4th round.
That's my point.
So they knew he
He
had
went in the third round, right?
or
Tennessee
third
late
or fourth.
third.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But nobody was buying into him. They knew, they recognized.
The league knew.
They recognized.
Maybe the league. I mean,
maybe they
could you
know
see
what
a
you're saying.
precipitous drop, or do you think that somebody is seeing what I'm seeing?
I think somebody else seeing what I'm seeing. It's too rare of a speed combo, size speed combo to ignore. For somebody, I could ignore it.
You know what? Probably the heart of the debate is too is the way you're kind of breaking this down. I'm not saying you're wrong. You're
No.
a chance you're right. They're 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds. To me, it's like they're far from finished products.
I don't disagree with you. That's why I keep using the word fatal flaw. I do believe in guys getting better and all that. For him, I think it's a long because there's too much.
Is there a team you would see as a good fit?
No. I don't see it. Man. Nothing.
You don't think if he goes there?
Well, you tell me. Give me a team. Like who?
Detroit.
No, they had Jared Goff. Like I would take Goff over him in a heartbeat.
Oh no, I would too. I'm saying to sit for a couple of years.
But that style isn't like you have to be incredibly. Jared Goff is ball handling is outstanding, accuracy. Like
you coming around on Jared Goff.
He's a bottom end.
You were an anti-Goffite for a while.
I'm going to tell you what he is still. You're never going to win with him.
Then you should draft Anthony Richardson.
Richardson's not better than him.
But he might be this
Goff
freak
Goff is that number. He's what we call from 15 to 32. A lot of quarterbacks that are good starters, but aren't the guy that are going to get you to where you need to go. That's Goff. We've always said that about him. I don't think he's good enough to win a Super Bowl with him. I think if you're looking to get a quarterback that can start and get you through a season, or you're a loaded team, like they were.
You know what's interesting on Richardson that I've noticed, Jim, is so whether it's the scouts, what they're telling Bob, independent of what you,
those scouts
a long time NFL,
Yeah.
XFL scout, you've seen it, and maybe this is the answer. I'm seeing people I respect in like my business cover the game, and I don't really cover the game through an X's and O's lens.
I don't either.
Obviously, I really don't.
I don't either.
But there are people who do.
Yeah.
Robert Mays, Benjamin Solak, like they're all in. Nate Tice, he did scout, right? You guys ran across each other.
I said,
so there and there are people who are thinking, and I won't even take this leap. I think Tice, obviously the son of Mike Tice, fantastic work. Him and Robert Mays, excellent podcast. Check it out. They were talking about this all, and he's like, yeah, I probably want to put him at number one. He wants to put him at number one. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, ahead of these guys potentially. He feels the urge. I don't know if he has. I don't want to put words in his mouth. But that conversation is being had, which is nuts considering what you see, what the scouts see. I mean, the variance here, I can't think of more of a variance than this. Is there any prospect out there? I mean, there were people who didn't like Cam Newton, but it was.
But he was going to go number one. Was the first one.
I mean, Malik Willis. People were getting excited about him, but people had a hard time saying like, "No, you got to take it."
They saw it right.
Johnny Manziel, but even with him, you saw it against Alabama.
He got put right.
But here's the thing with Johnny: like he physically, athletically, he was never that special. No. He really wasn't.
He was he screams the backup quarterback that you're happy for 4 games in the NFL. Right. You know, I'd love to. We can win. You know, we can go 2-2 with Johnny. If you have to play a whole season with him, we're in trouble. I'm trying to think of a guy that could be this, where he could seriously be. I can give you a different position. The Jets took a guy, Golston, defensive end.
Vernon Golston, yeah.
He was a guy that I heard scouts say wouldn't draft. This was in our draft room in New Orleans. Wouldn't draft him to coaches saying this guy, or even scouts, not just coaches, anybody else. This is going to be lead the league in sacks. He's that good. All because of his combine numbers.
Yeah, that's a really good comparison.
Yeah, that's the best guy I can think of that I remember. All the scouts I trusted.
You can take it back even further to Mike Mamula.
Well, now he invented the whole quarterback hurries or whatever. that stat became popular because they always push how many hurries he got, even though he didn't get the sack.
Our Packers listeners they got visions of Jamal Reynolds.
Yeah.
There always is.
There's difference between there's bust and then there's the guy that got drafted based on the workout versus the team.
And we always kind of talk down on the workouts, but there has to be some players who worked out like crazy.
We did a whole study. It's how Milano came to light for me.
Yeah.
Milano came to light for me because of his workout. Because wherever we had him at the time, his numbers were off the charts as what starts in the NFL. And that's what brought, our attention to say, wait, hold on. Let's look into this guy a little bit more. And then we have Sean, and it fits Sean's system.
Didn't Brandon and that staff, didn't they draft Milano?
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I think if Bean's not careful, though, he drafted E.J. Manuel, too. Because you never know who's going to get.
We chuckle, but it is funny to hear on certain airwaves that
the
previous regime drafted these players.
I don't know. But to your point, it's combine versus tape. That's where I think things can get insane. And Richardson, to me, is that. This would be too much for me.
Even it was wild to talk to Quincy Avery. So for those who don't know, he's one of these quarterback gurus. He's been with Deshaun Watson. I got to know him. I did a story on Watson at Bleacher Report. Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts, Trey Lance. And he didn't work with Anthony Richardson one-on-one, but he studies these guys really closely. And, on one hand, he said, look, if he does improve the accuracy, which can be improved through mechanics, he goes, I don't know if he can see the field. He goes, I can't get inside of his head, but if he sees the field, and if he's willing to work, put in the time, he's like, yeah, he checks all these boxes. He's number one overall. I mean, he had the same feeling I did in terms of the sporadic, spontaneous detonation of Anthony Richardson. But he said, he goes, I wouldn't do it. He goes, I wouldn't do it. Because if I was GM of the Panthers, I'm picking number one. He'd go C.J. Stroud. I mean, this is kind of go to a different direction. But with Stroud, the criticism is Ohio State, their quarterbacks. 1 read, 2 reads, get the ball out. He maintains. I think he's in direct conversation with CJ. I mean, he didn't train him that much, or maybe they'll connect down the road. But he said that he was asked to do full field reads. But the coaches were so good, the talent level was so good, and that first guy's open, you're just getting the ball to him. His numbers were nuts. He looked great in that Clemson game.
I can't stress to you enough how much you should just please throw on CJ Stroud, Michigan, Georgia, whoever, right after you watch Richardson. And the gap is just incredible. That's what I did. I saw jaw-dropping throws in coverage, dropping it, incredible accuracy, natural passer, everything you want to see. We didn't do the digging on the makeup and all that, but I mean, the physical part's fine with Stroud. It's a gap. He and Richardson, it was
he compared him to Joe Burrow. He's he can do everything.
I don't hate that comparison at all. As far as just I like that. Everything does everything good.
We had Mike on Rodak, AL.com covering Bryce Young, and he made the point that Bama's weapons weren't that good, and he had to put the team on his back more often.
I didn't even get it.
But you shouldn't hold it against Stroud that he didn't have to do that. I mean, hell, if the guys
study the throws. Yeah, study the throws. You don't need to overthink this. Who's he throwing to? Watch the throw. Was it accurate? Was it a hard throw? I mean, that's why we do that exercise. Study the throws.
And I'm not going to take the leap that some others will leap. I can't say Richardson should be number one. I can't go there. It would be nuts. Can you imagine if Carolina drafted him number one? After everything you said, what if Carolina takes him number one?
No, I can't. It doesn't even seem like it. It couldn't even be on their draft board, in my opinion.
Wow.
I mean, that's how off I would be on that.
That's where we say, Dan Morgan, assistant GM, was with the Bills.
And I don't work in the NFL for a reason. That's why he's getting paid to make that pick. I'm not.
I don't think we're going to see it. I mean,
he's going to go higher than I would. I mean, if he goes
young,
if he goes first round, I said that about Tebow too. I said if he goes first round, you're just drafting the image. You're drafting what you think Tebow is. This guy that's going to just change everything like he did. That's not, no. That was a system quarterback in college. Like, watch, he didn't change Florida. They were loaded. He didn't have to. But like I said, the one thing I always gave Tebow credit for, he was a pretty deep ball passer.
Oh.
I'm telling you he was.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah,
I can't say anything about Richardson other than the fastball. Fastball's real.
Young and Stroud should still go 1-2, one way or another. I feel like there's enough ego in the NFL, rightfully so. There'll be GMs and coaches and people in power who think that they can tap into something special with Anthony Richardson.
No doubt. A coach, they would be crazy for a coach. Coaches are teachers. Why wouldn't you want to teach somebody with that foundation?
Right. Was there a time, Jim, when you and Doug Whaley, you're on the personnel side, yet you're also working with a coaching staff, a head coach. So first Doug Marrone, then Rex Ryan, and then the one draft with Sean McDermott. Was there a time where there was this huge disagreement between personnel side, coaching staff, and in the moment, there's the countdown on the pick.
Oh,
the pick's got to be in. Yeah, on the clock. I know you're doing a lot of work.
So I would tell you this. No, the debates were done before. That's what people want to believe.
Okay, then backtrack.
Yes.
Go to the debates.
You'd have to go to the debates.
What was the great debate then?
I think we talked about it one time. I'll give you one. I give credit. We talked about it before, but Marrone was not a fan of Quanjo and Cyril Richardson. And he made it known, and he was right. I always said I like how he approached it. He said, he said his piece. He watched the tape. He gave his reasons. But hey, protocol is what it was. The scouting staff believed in those guys as, once again, developmental. Thought they had chances to get better. Richardson especially. Quanjo we thought was a plug and play. Wrong. So, but that wasn't ever heated. And I give Marrone credit on that. As far as, hey, he could have really made a big deal about it. He made it known he wasn't happy. Now, Marrone also, I can tell you, he also, he was wrong on some guys too, just like we all are.
The top of 2014.
So you can be right and wrong on guys all the time.
You don't have to, talk.
Well, I'm trying to think of debates. Now, the one we had, so Mac was not like a heated debate. I would just say I don't think Marrone was as sold on him as we were. I would just leave it at that. Which is, he had his reasons why. It wasn't that he didn't think Mac was going to be a good player. He just didn't see the special that some people saw. We could talk about Beckham. Once again, that whole draft, we go back on that, where some guys didn't see him as special, some people did. But to a lesser degree, honestly, I can't think of like a heated Darren Lee, the linebacker. We talked about that one. Rex wanted no part of him. He had eliminated him from his tape. Didn't think he was a linebacker. He was correct. He was not a natural linebacker. He was a safety that was made into a linebacker who could test a combine workout wonder. Smart, intelligent, all the check marks. At the end of the day, he was not a natural linebacker who could take on blocks, get off of them, and make plays using his speed. He got eaten up.
Which is fascinating because then Rex, and you guys obviously, you go the opposite direction with Reggie Ragland. And he didn't really last either. He was more of an old school
the injuries he got, and he never was in great shape to begin with.
Yeah.
So for a guy like Reggie to battle injuries, that's hard. And then the game changed quick.
It changed fast.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
The Brandon Spikeses, the Reggie Raglands, gone. Don't even exist.
I don't think Buffalo should draft a linebacker early in
I agree with you on that. It can't be. I don't care who they draft. Let me take it back on that.
Probably another episode.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. It needs to go. I always get position out of the talk and get impact playmaker, however that is. They need an impact guy. Like their windows now, get an impact playmaker. It doesn't matter the position. If it is linebacker, great. but it's got to be impact linebacker.
Agreed, and use them correctly.
It's got to be.
Hines
Yes.
needs more than 11 touches. You might have a guy in a Quentin Morris, a tight end, who's got some ability. I mean, I feel like, yes, new bodies. You got to try draft a receiver, draft a lineman, protect Allen, all that stuff, and use them the right way.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're gonna have some fun.
So
Anthony Richardson.
It's going to be a
You see
4-time MVP. You're telling me.
There's a chance. There's a chance.
How many Super Bowls? 6, 7?
I'm still in shock after what I saw.
Oh, it was fun. It was fun. Well, let us know what you want to hear too. If there's anybody out there that wants Jim,
Somebody we could
study a prospect, let us know.
I like when we both do it though. I like the
I like the
Kentucky. We're gonna do Kentucky next.
Levis.
Yeah.
That works. And plus these tight ends. You're the tight ends.
You're pushing it. Jobs and kids.
You're right. Yeah, you've got to.
Jobs and kids getting away. Jobs and kids getting away.
to run here. Anything you can say on the XFL? I mean,
No,
how's life for you?
hey, things are going just accordingly, right? Moving right along. Excited. We're almost there for the playoffs, so everybody's fired up.
St. Louis is rocking.
It's an awesome game this week. They play Seattle, and that's a battle. Seattle's fighting to make the playoffs too. They both need to win to get in. And that's the best atmosphere going in the XFL, St. Louis. So that's definitely a watchable, fun game to tune in on.
Check it out. ESPN,
yeah,
FX,
ESPN too,
yeah.
FX. Yep.
Perfect. Thanks
ABC,
so much.
ABC too.
Oh, ABC, that's right.
Yeah. We get some ABC games too. Oh yeah.
We'll have to, shut off the old Sing and Sing 2, and Coco Melon,
Yeah, I know what you
and
mean.
all of that to get some XFL on this weekend. It's always tough. Yeah. They enjoy it, though. They enjoy it.
They enjoy Greg Williams. They love Greg Williams.
Who doesn't? Greg Williams.
He's part of your book. He's part of your life.
Part of
XFL.
Planting spies to tee off on Rob Johnson.
Rob Johnson. Like, his name comes up a lot on this pod.
Thanks so much for watching, for listening. Apple, Spotify, golongtv.com, and also subscribe to the website. Bob McGinn series is dropping very soon. Thanks so much, everyone.